If you've been paying attention to the tech world as of late, you'll have heard a certain phrase a lot: 5G network. The 5G network has been in the works by many for well over a year, and it's been labeled as being the true next generation of wireless technology. But for those who don't speak tech, it can be very easy to not understand what any of that means, or how exactly a 5G network helps you, the consumer. So given all of that, allow us to take you inside the $5 billion 5G network. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 6. Cisco and 5G. If you want to know the true origins of the 5G network, then you have to look at Cisco. They're the ones who have been working hard to try and create the 5G network as something to surpass what was already there and head in a new direction of wireless access. Enterprises primarily use 4G LTE as a low-speed backup for activities like point-of-sale, POS traffic, but the latency and bandwidth characteristics of 5G means businesses can use it as a load-balanced primary data source for connectivity and more reliable backup. Scott Harrell, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Cisco Enterprises Networking Business, explained at a Cisco Live event in June. For them and other companies also doing 5G networks, they felt this was a way to start making sure their future was secured, especially with their workforce. We have to prepare our people ahead of time, and so we're using technology now to help them understand the skills they have, which is really important, and then we're working with them to understand what roles they want in the future and bridging the gap. Katsuda said, "Our employees realize that their skills and capabilities are going to have to evolve as technology changes," she added. Now, to be clear, while Cisco is one who committed $5 billion to go and make a true 5G network, in fact, there are 9 companies who sell it to various carriers: Altiostar, Cisco Systems, Datang Telecom, Fiberhome, Ericsson, Huawei, Nokia, Qualcomm, Samsung, and ZTE. Each of them have been well and truly racing to try and not just get their 5G networks up and running, but to make sure they're better than all the other attempts in order to encourage consumers to try their 5G network and not others. It's basic business if you think about it, trying to upgrade things so that you have something bigger and better, but it still doesn't answer the question. Number 5. What makes 5G so special? That's the question, isn't it? Because networks will try and dazzle you with flashy words and phrases to try and make you try it out. But if you don't really know what it is, how can you trust it to do what it's supposed to do? In short, much of the hype around 5G has to do with speed. But there are other perks too. 5G will have greater bandwidth, meaning it can handle many more connected devices than previous networks. That means no more spotty service when you're in a crowded area. And it will enable even more connect devices like smart toothbrushes and self-driving cars, the latter of which may be seeing its numbers increasing in upcoming years due to brands like Tesla. And if they're all connected on one network, you definitely want there to be enough bandwidth to handle them all. 5G will also reduce latency, the time it takes for a cell phone or other connected devices to make a request from a server and get a response, to virtually zero. It will make connection with cloud platforms like Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure faster and easier. So in the most basic of terms, the 5G network is meant to help speed things up, get things done more quickly and accurately, and make it so many people can get onto the network without the issue the previous 4G networks had. But is that boost really so good? Number 4. Why the 5G rush? Hopefully by now, you understand that there's a lot more going on with 5G than you might think. But even with the basic principles of going faster and having more connectivity, it's still okay to not understand why there are so many companies racing to try and make the biggest, fastest, and best 5G network out there. That's because the benefits of the new technology are expected to fuel transformative new technologies, not just for consumers, but also for businesses, infrastructures, and defense applications. If you have a better wireless network that has no latency and can handle a bunch of users, yeah, you're in business. And as you likely know, the tech industry is always looking for faster processing power and connection speeds to fuel new devices. So while spending $5 billion on a 5G network may seem over the top, if they get picked up by major firms and manufacturers to be the source of their 5G connection, they'll be making billions back, and thus the race is on. Certain networks do already have 5G up, but it's going to be curious to see who is able to make theirs most efficient and who will benefit the most from it. It'll be a race to the end, no doubt, but it'll affect a lot of things when it's time. Number 3. So, how does it work? All right. Now let's dive into the question that everyone is dying to know. How exactly does it work? Because it's easy enough to picture things like faster internet speeds, less latency, more people on a singular spot, that kind of thing. But how exactly does 5G get it done? Because the network doesn't just dial it up to 11 and the output is increased, right? Yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that. With 5G, signals run over new radio frequencies, which require updating radios and other equipment on cell towers. which is why you have seen various videos or commercials about the new 5G towers, because it was indeed an upgrade needing to happen in order to make it work. There are 3 different methods for building a 5G network, depending on the type of assets a wireless carrier has. Low-band network, wide coverage area, but only about 20% faster than 4G. High-band network, super fast speeds, but signals don't travel well and struggle to move through hard surfaces. And mid-bandwidth network, balances speed and coverage. See, aren't you glad we explained this? It's a bit more complicated than you likely thought. Carriers building super-fast 5G networks must install tons of cell sites, about the size of pizza boxes, to light poles, walls, or towers, often in relatively small proximity to one another. For that reason, super-fast networks are most likely being deployed city by city. Eventually, most U.S. carriers will have a mix of different network types that will enable both broad coverage and fast speeds. This is another part of the race to 5G, because when you have to build things city by city, it takes time to not just get up and running, but to make sure that it does honestly work like intended. Number 2. So how do I get 5G if I want it? Another good question. Because there are plenty of providers claiming 5G capability, but it's not as simple as going and connecting your phone to a 5G network. In order to connect to and get the benefits of a 5G network, consumers have to have 5G-enabled devices. Not unlike what you would do when the 4G or 4G LTE networks came to be. Samsung, Motorola, Huawei, LG, OnePlus, and several other device makers have released 5G phones. Some companies, including manufacturers and the NFL, are also working with carriers to install personal 5G networks so they can reap the benefits without waiting for the nationwide rollout, which is going to take some time, as you might expect. In fact, according to studies, it's very likely that full-power 5G networks across a majority of wireless phones won't happen until 2025. So yeah, a race indeed. And if you definitely want to check if your various local areas have 5G capabilities, because while big cities may have them right now, small towns might not. Number 1. The conspiracy theories. We thought we'd end this list on something a bit more reassuring, mainly because with the global pandemic and the rise of the 5G network, there are some people out there spreading conspiracy theories, stating that 5G causes the virus that's going around, and that turning on 5G towers will hurt people on the ground, and so on and so forth. This isn't true at all. And if you think about it, if they uploaded it, and it did cause this, don't you think people would have noticed by now, and the towers taken down? Not to mention, we've been exposed to all sorts of wireless signals and frequencies for years, and nothing has happened. So why would these new ones be any different? If there are problems with 5G, it'll be on the tech side, not the health side. So take heart knowing that, okay? So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the 5G network? And what went into making it what it is today? Can you believe that they spent over $5 billion to go and make this work? Do you better understand what this is meant to do for you and help you on your wireless journey? Do you still have questions about what it really does? Do you already have a 5G network? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.